What if, in Elden Ring, you didn't need reflexes to time that dodge? I turned Elden Ring into a fully playable turn-based RPG, with full character progression, 2 unique classes, and even online co-op. But could it actually survive the hardest bosses in the game? Could I become Elden Lord, one turn at a time? But before I could face real bosses, there was one massive problem. Enemies just don't wait their turn. I could have let you freely pause and pick actions without limits, timers, or resources. That would prevent the bosses from munching on my lifeless corpse. And I tried that at first, but this wasn't turn-based I had created, it was Elden Ring on training wheels. So to solve this, I set up 3 rules to guide me. The game has to advance in turns. I only get to act on my turn, which means no real-time panic, something I personally rely on a lot. Finally, the enemy gets their turn too, no exceptions. For rule 1 and 2, I allowed the player just movement and jumping, and only one way to act. Press X to start your turn, buddy. For rule 3, I had to limit myself to let the enemy act.
Understand. Then hit me, if you can.
So I added a turn timer, which makes the game function similar to the active time battle system of old school Final Fantasy. The enemy is free to act at will until the timer refills. Now the enemy gets a turn. Great, rule 3 fulfilled. In the base game, you always have agency. You can dodge, sprint, panic roll whenever you want. But in that moment where you can't react, everything changes. Even basic enemies become mathematically impossible. You thought Fat Roll was bad.
Theory will take you only so far.
And with a version ready that seemed worth testing, I stepped into Margit's room. Ugh. Ugh. Oh boy. Let's try guarding. Oh, not even close. Nothing I can do. Nothing I can do.
Foolish ambitions to
Hit him once. Okay, back up, back up. No! No. Oh, this is impossible. Oh, okay. Yep, dodge got eaten up by that attack.
these foolish ambitions
Impossible.
to rest.
Margit was my first lesson in why this wasn't going to be simple, because a new problem emerged. I had built what I call the blind puppet master. But to understand what I mean by that, you first have to understand what the mod is really doing. It isn't integrated into Elden Ring, exactly. It primarily operates as an overlay. You queue actions by spending resources, it remembers the order, and then presses the buttons for you in sequence while tracking its own internal cooldowns. But it doesn't actually know what the game is doing. It can't see animations, it can't see knockdowns, or when you take damage. It just executes commands on a timer. And that timer can be catastrophically wrong. So while I'm lying on the ground naked and afraid, it keeps sending commands, even though Elden Ring is not in a state that can receive them. And that's when it all clicked for me. I had removed the ability to react by giving the enemy a turn, and now I had built the mod without that either. If this system was ever going to survive a boss, something fundamental had to change.
Put these foolish ambitions to rest.
So after a lot of strawberry grapes later, the mod could finally see.
You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
Now, if you're knocked down or take heavy damage, the queue pauses, refunds the interrupted action, and waits until you're back on your feet. And back through the fog we went. The queue survived this test, but I didn't. But with the mod's expanded capabilities, I now had the power to tune things much more precisely, so I added some new custom abilities that didn't exist in the base game, with restrictions. And it was back to the testing ground, this time armed with some fresh firepower. Which immediately went horrible, but now it was obvious it wasn't really the mod's fault anymore, so I pressed on. Oh, relentless! Stop! Oh, I can't heal on fortress stance. No! Push TP. Please. 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 Fortress stance done. I need to regen. Get off me. Yeah. Die. Oh. Oh, eruption. Nope, nope, no. All I need to do. Survive. Oh, yes! Margit wasn't easy, but he proved two things. The mod could survive a real boss, and I was terrible at piloting it. Every turn was like placing a bet. I pick actions while guessing what the boss will likely do next, and you can't change this once you press end turn. So if the boss chooses an unexpected action, it can dismantle all of that planning. But I couldn't stop at Margit, so I turned my sights on Radahn. Oh, frick! This is probably a good time to mention that the mod has its own leveling system. Because Radahn was going to do more than test the system, he would test my strategy. Since I had just hit level 25, I gained a much needed new set of gear and stats. And I also had to consider my talent build. I was happy with ATB regen now, but AP regen felt lacking. Fortunately, I had purchased a respec token in the aptly named store, so I spent some time tweaking my build. Finally, I stepped into his arena, feeling confident. Oh, well, this is a problem. And I realized that I had built an entire system that didn't support horses, and for Radahn, you kinda need horses. I had spent a lot of time on ground combat, but mounted combat has several unique features too. Elden Ring reuses the guard button for multiple contexts. On foot, it blocks. On horseback, it swings left. I had only allowed the guard button for guarding with set durations, which meant I had no way to attack left, so it was back to the labs. Now with mounted combat squared away, I was finally ready to tackle Radahn, and that experience could be summed up like this. Am I dead? Oh. Radahn had increased the difficulty a lot. Oh my god. He put pressure on my resource generation, forcing me to continue leveling up for faster AP regen. But even with that, it was not an easy fight for the mod. I had been at this for hours, so I made a decision. Why not try the summons? They had been staring at me every single attempt. Obviously, the summons made things a lot easier, especially because of the Guardian's special ability, Fortress Stance. The Guardian is balanced around low damage and high defense, no bleeds or status effects, just punch and survive. Fortress Stance was the pinnacle of that. For 15 seconds, you can't take damage. Normally, I think this is balanced, because the mod makes some things harder. You have more limitations on actions, so you can't defend and attack together as effectively. But with the summon's help, Fortress Stance let me play more aggressively during Radahn's dangerous phase too. Radahn didn't just test the mod, he tested my design. He hadn't broken it, but he bent it. A lot. I didn't expect the way Fortress Dance interacted with the summons. But if there was one boss that would break it,
Corpse after corpse left in my wake.
it's Melania.
As I awaited his return.
And she doesn't care about turn order.